It is exactly 1 p.m. in Nairobi, Kenya. Good afternoon from wherever you're watching us across the country and beyond. We thank you so much for choosing TV47 to inform you on this 17th day of December 2023. My name is George Maringa, on standby to bring you up to date with what's making headlines from across the country and beyond. But first, our top stories. Among the top stories making headlines at this hour, 4 people are feared dead in a gold mine tragedy in Kurutianga village in Kuria West.
Tumepata janga ambalo vijana wetu wamefunikwa ndani ya mine na imekuwa ni kitu ambacho si kitu ambacho tumeiona hapa.
Agriculture Principal Secretary Dr. Paul Ruto says government will compensate farmers affected by floods.
And as a ministry we have planned to distribute some additional seedlings to the many affected farmers, especially farmers in Wachia, Garissa, Mandera, Marsabit, areas of Turkana, which have been affected adversely.
Plus, small-scale miners across the country have been urged to group themselves into cooperative societies to get government support.
Tutapata nafasi ya kuwaunganisha na taasisi za fedha ambazo zinaweza kuwapatia vifaa na tukafanya uchimbaji madini kwa njia ya kisasa.
We thank you for choosing us. For those watching us on terrestrial platforms, as well as streaming on YouTube and website, as well as X, formerly Twitter, at George Maringa _ across the social media platforms. We thank you for joining us. The government has announced plans to compensate farmers who have lost crops and livestock to floods occasioned by the current El Niño rains pounding the country. According to Agriculture Principal Secretary Dr. Paul Ruto, most of the farmers who have lost over 70% of their livelihoods to the rains are from the arid and semi-arid areas. Now, speaking during a tree planting exercise at Kalro in Murang'a County, the PS said the ministry is in the process of quantifying the extent of destruction of food crops and livestock to El Niño so that they come up with a budget for the compensation exercise. Father Ruto said that they are working with the private sector to be able to get enough funds and mitigate the effects of the tragedy.
The long rainy season with El Niño, which has affected a number of farmers across the country. We have lost some livestock, and equally we have also lost some crops in areas which are affected by El Niño. And as a ministry, we have planned to distribute some additional seedlings to the many affected farmers, especially farmers in Wachia, Garissa, Mandera, Marsabit, areas of Turkana, which have been affected adversely by the current El Niño rain.
Still in Central, police in Thika, Kiambu County have recovered an assortment of vandalized Kenya Power equipment worth millions of shillings at Kimosho village. Among the items recovered in an impromptu raid by sleuths at a homestead within the sprawling village are transformer laminators, a pair of climbers, prepaid meters, military boots, customer interface units, among others. According to Thika West Sub-County DCIO Jacinta Mbaika, detectives were tipped off by a member of the public about the storage of Powerline materials at a nondescript homestead. Police revealed that they were following crucial leads to have the masterminds behind the crime arrested.
Leo tuliweza kupata information kutoka kwa an informer from Kimuchu ya kwamba kuna mtu ameweka vitu za stima. Ndio tuliungana na askari wa Kimuchu police post, ndio tukaweza kuelekezwa mahali hapo. Tulipofika tukapata kijana mwenye anaitwa Dennis Karanja ambaye ni almost 27 years. Ndio tukapata pia search kwa nyumba, tukapata vitu za stima zenye zimekuwa vandalized kwa transformer. Zingine zilikuwa zimewekwa kwa tuktuk zingine kwa rooms, na tukapata vitu kadhaa ambazo siko mbele yetu. Zingine ni machuma ya transformer ndani. Ndio tunaendelea kuchunguza tujue akina wenye wana operate hii biashara ni akina nani. As you can see, it's not one transformer. Ni vitu yenye imechanganyikana, ni vitu ya transformer mingi, sio transformer moja. Kulingana na boards zenye tumepata za transformer zenye zinatolewa ndani, transformer mingi. Paka mafuta sio transformer moja. Kwa hivyo ni cartel yenye wamekuwa wakirepeat.
Now, one body of the 4 people who are feared dead at Karutiyange gold mine tragedy in Kuria West has been found. According to the Masaba Ward MCA Clarkson Mwita, the 4 were buried alive after the gold mine collapsed due to the weak walls after a heavy rainfall. The MCA said they are doing everything possible to get the remaining bodies from the debris and also contact the family members about the tragedy. Rescue efforts were hampered by water filled in the gold mines as the pumping out process is still on.
Ningeomba kwamba watu washikane mkono kwa sababu kama saa hii wangekuja pamoja washikana na MCA mwenye ako hii area watoa watu wetu. Hatujui kama watu wetu wako wapi. Tutawapata. Tunaomba tusaidie watu wetu watoke kwa maji. Ndio tuende nyumbani tukiwa na amani. Sababu hatuna amani. Hatulali, hatukuli. Tumeshinda hapa kwa sababu ya watu wetu.
Nimesema ni asante kwa kiongozi wetu wa MCA kwa hii shughuli yote ametufanyia hapa mpaka sasa. Saidia nipate watoto wangu wale wamebaki ndani. Jameni, watoto wangu hata vijana 3 yote wameenda sijapata. Nimepata mmoja lakini wawili bado sijapata serikali.
Janga ambalo vijana wetu wamefunikwa ndani ya mine, na imekuwa ni kitu ambacho si kitu ambacho tumeiona hapa. Na najua ya kwamba wacha kwanza ni washukuru watu wetu. Watu wetu wamekaa na sisi sana. Hata majirani wetu kutoka kohoti zingine wamekuwa na sisi hapa. Vijana wetu ambao wako pale ndani, jana kwa sababu ya hali ya anga tulibahatika kupata kijana mmoja mwenye kama miaka 18 hivi ambaye tulipata already ameshafariki, lakini bado kulingana na idadi yenye tulikuwa tumeambiwa walikuwa na kadria ama kulikuwa na makadrio ya watu 5, lakini specifically wanasema ni watu 4. That's the minimum number. So bado tuko na watu 3 tunaendelea kutafuta pale.
And we indeed hope that the rescue efforts bear fruit. A section of youth leaders from Kiambu County have slammed the current administration for neglecting young professionals in the job market, saying they have been forgotten even after voting for the Kenya Kwanza government. The youth say they have potential and credentials to be fixed in government positions, but so far no help. Speaking at their annual gathering, the leaders claimed that since the government came to power, they had promised young people job opportunities, but that promise has not materialized. Led by Richard Kamau, they called upon Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to embrace peace and bring Central Region people together.
Lakini baada ya uchaguzi unapata ya kwamba vijana wanatupiliwa mbali, ya kwamba siku kama ya leo hata ukihitaji mojawapo ya wale ambao tuliwasaidia kukwea mahali pale katika vio vile, hatuwezi wapata siku ya leo kwa sababu tutaona ya kwamba wako katika hafla zingine, na kwa vile tuliwasaidia na wao wenyewe wanaondokea vijana na hawataki pia kuwashikilia katika mambo ambayo wanafanya hata katika county na pia kukuza vijana hawa.
We become a voice of the youth where we think that the youth should be given opportunities, be it development, be it appointed positions, and mostly we've been here to support the government on matters that they've come to benefit the members of the public, and where we feel that maybe the government is not doing enough, we've become a voice to challenge our leaders in authority. We've been oversight role.
So we will reiterate that we are asking for a fair share of government in Mount Kenya and in Kenya as at large.
Now, small-scale miners across the country have been urged to group themselves into cooperative societies in a bid to make it easier for the government to provide them with necessary support and also address the myriad challenges that they are facing. Speaking during a workshop that has brought together small-scale miners from counties across the coast region, Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, Salim Mvurya, attributed the challenges faced by the miners such as lack of essential equipment and necessary knowledge to absence of institutions that bring them together, hence making them struggle in accessing resources and necessary aid. At the same time, Mvurya threatened to shut down mining sites that operate without proper licenses in the country.
Tumeona taarifa nyingi hapo awali kwamba wachimba migodi wengine kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa vifaa wameweza kupoteza maisha, ambayo hiyo ni jambo ambalo kama wizara tuna masikitiko makubwa. Kwa hivyo tunapoenda hapo mbele, wakati tumeunda hizi vyama za ushirika, tutapata nafasi ya kuwaunganisha na taasisi za fedha ambazo zinaweza kuwapatia vifaa na tukafanya uchimbaji madini kwa njia ya kisasa. Na hiyo ndiyo lengo ya Mheshimiwa Rais wetu na ndiyo lengo letu kama wizara. Kwa hivyo ningependa hivi sasa wakati tumeketi hapa tujue kwamba sekta hii ya madini haitabaki vile ilivyo. Kuna mabadiliko makubwa na mabadiliko yameanza na mfumo huu ambao umewaweka kwa vyama vya ushirika. Miaka zaidi ya 4 kumekuwa na makataa ya kutopeana leseni ambayo iliwekwa hapo awali, lakini mwezi wa Oktoba tarehe 3 baraza la mawaziri kwa kauli moja tukakubaliana kwamba tufungue hii sekta na watu waendelee kupata leseni ili uwekezaji wa madini uendelee kwa hali nzuri. Kwa hivyo tunavyozungumza hivi sasa tuna kampuni nyingi ambao wametuma maombi yao na ile bodi yetu ya
Now, former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga has urged locals to embrace peaceful coexistence in order to achieve significant development in Laikipia and the central region as a whole. Speaking in Marmanet Ward, Laikipia County, during the burial ceremony of former Senate aspirant Henry Kimathi's mother, Njenga noted that the unity of leaders from the region has been the main reason as to why the county is experiencing peace. He also lauded the measures taken by the Ministry of Defense through PS Patrick Marero in addressing insecurity in the region, saying it is bearing fruit a year after assumption of power.
Yule mwingine ambaye pia bado ni wa familia in-laws.
Tunashukuru pia hiyo muungano wa vile watu wamesimama pamoja, hiyo ushirikiano. Tunaona Laikipia sasa inaenda kuwa salama, kwa sababu sasa kwa mfano huu waziri wetu wa ulinzi amefanya kitendo cha maana sana kufanya Laikipia iwe salama, na tunaomba sehemu zingine kama Muarak na zingine ziwe salama pia. Wale ambao wanajaribu kutatiza amani hapa Laikipia, tunasema lazima hatua ichukuliwe ili watu wakae salama. Tunaomba watu hata mkoa wa kati wote na Kenya mzima watu waendelee kuwa na amani. Katika huu msimu wa Krismasi na mwaka mpya, tunaomba watu waendelee kushirikiana na yule ambaye ako na chakula zaidi amsaidie mwenzake. Hata kama ni nguo, saidia mwenzako. Na hiyo ndio hiyo maombi yetu ya sasa.
Away from that, despite the kick-off of December festive season, Kenyans have mentioned high cost of living as one of the key factors that would hinder the pomp and glamour which is usually experienced during these times. Majority, especially those drawn from groups with special needs, continue to grapple with the effects of high food prices, opting to treat the Christmas season just like any other. Speaking at Lusangeli area in Sabatia constituency in Vihiga County during the distribution of Christmas packages from well-wishers to groups with special needs, Residents from vulnerable communities, including orphans, widows and widowers, say that there was no reason to celebrate this Christmas season, terming harsh economic conditions as a challenge to many.
Here we had a function with our elderly, these are widows and widowers, and then this year we decided we are going to do it in a different way because we understood even the orphans are part of the needy people in the society. The reason why we came in with the setup we've come up with, you can see we are with Madam Sarah here. We want to do something that is glorifying the kingdom of God.
It might not be something very huge for you, but for her, that 2 kilos of sugar or that something little, it will make a lot of difference in her life. And you know, the feeling of appreciation, just like the bishop has said, sometimes you feel lonely because there is no one who has ever come to you to tell you that they have appreciated you. But when they see us here and with the little that other people have given, then they will feel that they are loved. I think that is the message, love.
Wale contractors wengine wasingoje serikali. Unajua serikali inakupatia kazi ulime barabara, inakupatia kazi ujenge shule, wanakulipa. Lakini hasa hiyo faida, mkiweka pamoja hiyo pesa kidogo kidogo yote, mwisho wa mwaka you can do something.
Siku hizi vitu vimepanda, mayatima wanasumbuka. Sasa hata ukitaka tu Krismasi hawapati, lazima upate kazi, uende uchunie mtu machani ndio hawa mayatima wapate. Lakini leo tumejua tu Mungu ametuwezesha, tumepata Krismasi kupitia kwa maka.
Mimi nilikuwa nasherehekea na mahindi tu.
Tonight on TV47, the daily report, or rather tonight on TV47, we will be hosting President Dr. William Ruto from State House, Nairobi. The president is expected to highlight on the government agenda 1 year after taking oath of office. Key will be the cost of living, and we invite you to share your questions with us via our social media platforms at TV47 News, that is on X, formerly Twitter, and also our SMS line, that is 22047. Our very own Grace Kanja will tackle the interview. Have a look.
This Sunday.
Na nia yetu ni kuhakikisha kwamba tusirudi mahali pale tena. Mahali unga inafika shilingi 230.
An interview with President William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya. He promised, has he delivered thus far?
Kila Mkenya atakuwa na social insurance fund card. Bei ya mafuta sasa tumeanza kuishughulikia.
That's this Sunday 7 to 9 p.m. on TV47 with me, Grace Kanja.
That exclusive interview coming your way. Be sure to catch it right here on TV47. My colleague Grace Kanja will be the driver, the pilot of that interview, coming to you live from State House, Nairobi, with the President, Dr. William Ruto. Private developers have welcomed the government move to include non-salaried Kenyans to contribute for affordable housing project. Speaking during handing over of newly constructed houses at Kenyatta Road, CEO of Wellstone Home, Engedio Kinyanjui, says that the government's move to include non-salaried Kenyans to affordable housing project is the best move since every Kenyan will be considered for shelter. The government has tabled a revised affordable housing bill in the National Assembly, including gross income earned by individuals outside formal employment among rateable earnings under the proposed act.
Government provision or the deduction for housing levy was a positive stride to the improvement of Kenya living standard. You can imagine most of the people who, previously we've had people mostly that have been affected are people who work for the government. We ask now, what about the private parastatals that are there in Kenya? What about these other business people who do not have a tangible employer like those that are in the civil servant department. So I would say it was a positive move, and I would encourage, because once you sort the housing agenda for each and every citizen of this country, then you leave the others now on development agendas only. So it is a very positive stride, and I would encourage people to view it in a positive way, because at the end of the day, you know, that combination or pool of the FAD will help those who are less privileged to get this home. And at the end of the day, they will have more reason to celebrate because, again, they are omitted the opportunity to buy RAD and construct for themselves. So providing them a shelter is also a big advantage once the progress.
To West Pokot, where lack of water, pasture and grazing land in West Pokot and its neighboring communities has been a major challenge, leading to cattle rustling, insecurity and high rates of poverty within the region. As a result of this, communities residing in parts of Alale in Pokot North have finally felt a sigh of relief after Germany Agency for International Cooperation, that is GIZ, established mechanisms to reduce conflicts which are brought about by lack of pasture and water to feed livestock in the area.
After the activities are put in place, we expect that the West Pokot community within Alale will have adequate pasture for their livestock. And not just adequate, but pasture units which are managed throughout the year. There are pasture units which have been earmarked for grazing during the long rains season, and there are those that have been earmarked for grazing during the dry season. So what does that mean? It means there is a better grazing mechanisms for the pastoralists within Alale. That is number one. Number two, we are saying now with that adequate and well-managed grazing, then we are going to minimize conflicts. So that is number two. Number three, we are also saying by managing the grazing patterns well, then we are giving
aina tofauti ambazo tunakumbana nazo, ambazo wakulima pia wanakumbana nazo, na imekuwa ni changamoto ambazo sasa tumekuwa tukijiuliza tuanzie wapi. Na kwa sababu ya nafasi ya waleo ambayo ni nafasi muhimu, ningependa pia niseme ya kwamba na niombe serikali ya kaunti na pia vile vile serikali kuu kwa kupitia idara ambazo zinahusika kwamba watuangalie sehemu hii licha ya kuwa kuna magonjwa pia.
To coffee matters, where coffee farmers from various counties in central region now want the government to eliminate middlemen in the coffee export business by linking them to direct buyers abroad for better returns. The farmers from Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri, Makueni and Machakos counties regretted that despite their toil, they have continued to suffer low incomes due to a dysfunctional system that continues to favor middlemen. During a sensitization forum organized by Kenya Coffee Producers Association in Thika, Kiambu County, the farmers cited failure by middlemen to involve them in an evaluation of the coffee before determination of the product reserve price, and poor auction fee trading have seen their income melt away over the years.
When they are preparing to deliver coffee for the secondary meeting, the farmer does not take samples to the independent capping laboratory to be able to have an analysis of the coffee. That means they are able to get one is the milling loss, the moisture content, the grading and the cap quality. All these are very, very critical so that when they finally deliver coffee to the mill, they will also be able to request a pre-milling analysis report, which should be able to tally with that milling analysis that was done from the independent capping laboratory.
Tumekuwa na shida nyingi sana kwa sababu tunapovuna mavuno yetu kutoka kwa shamba mpaka pesa irudie mkulima, pale katikati kuna mambo mengi ambayo yanafanyika na mkulima hausiki na hajui. Sasa hii mambo ya kutoa catalog ama kutoa bei. Wale wanatuuzia, wale mabrokers ndio wanajuana na wenye kununua, na mkulima hana chochote. Kwa hivyo pale tungetaka sana serikali iingilie, ijue mkulima anahusika hata kujua bei na kunegotiate ile mpango ya ni pesa gani ambayo anaweza kuchukua.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Time now for sports news, where Kalulini FC and Ikalasa Queens are among the 2023 champions. Let's take this story instead. Now, after 2 weeks of training, the 11th event of Tong Ilmudu will be hosted in Mombasa starting today. The event was postponed for lack of funds, but speaking in Mombasa, the government has so far released the funds. The event will start today at 5 p.m. and more than 7 teams have arrived and more are expected as the schedules are different. The Kenyan team, Jasiri, is expecting stiff competition from Philippines team. The theme of this year's event is the anniversary of Independence Day for the youth, as the organizers are aiming at primary schools to promote the sport in the country. The event will run for 2 days.
Yes, the government has released the funds for hosting this event, and we have been able to take care of very sensitive responsibilities which come hand in hand with organizing such an international event, and that is the reason why tomorrow we are going to start the contest in Mombasa at the Aga Khan Academy. So far we have Paraguay, India, Zimbabwe, we also have Japan, Korea, Philippines are en route to Mombasa anytime now. Thailand has also arrived, and by tomorrow we are going to have most of the teams here because we have different fixtures and different timings. So by the end of the tournament we are going to have all the countries here.
Kaluluini FC and Ikalasa Queens are the 2023 champions in the just concluded Governor Wavinya Cup, played on Saturday afternoon at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos County. Ikalasa Queens beat their rivals at the River Starlets 3-2 in penalty shootouts after drawing a draw of 1 in normal time to walk home with a coveted 1 million Kenya shillings prize. A similar amount was pocketed by Kaluluini FC from Yatta Sub-County, who thrashed Mavoko Youth 2-1 in a thrilling clash. Mavoko Youth and Athi River Starlets walked away with 500,000 Kenya shillings each for securing the second positions for men and women teams respectively. The county-wide tournament that was launched by Governor Wavinya Ndeti in August this year brought together 640 teams drawn from across the 40 wards of the county.
Kubwa wa mpira hapa kina Gos Mulei na wale wengine wamekuja hapa na sasa wameniambia wameona karibu 3 4 hapa. Kwa hivyo hao wakituambia tutahakikisha mumetransit. Kuna wasichana wetu wengine wamechukuliwa. Hii si mchezo. Mahali nitaweza kwenda kutafutia watu wangu vitu, nitawatafutia. Just know you're safe in mama's hands.
Mimi ni mwana nasanali lakini hapa naona tumeunda superstars Machakos, na asanteni, pongezi gavana, pongezi sana Nick Mwendwa na wana kandanda wote. Leo nimefahamishwa kulikuwa na other tournaments, lakini hii kwa sababu imehudhuriwa na president wa KFK mwenyewe iko nambari 1. Vijana, you know, you specialize in soccer, you become BAMBA. Ama unakuwa Nima. ama Neymar, ama ukicheza zaidi unakuwa kama mimi Messi.
It is exactly 30 minutes past the hour. We thank you so